Meantime, back at the ranch, you've got big problems, and you wanted to table a paper to the executive today just explaining how difficult you think the budgetary situation is, and that was dealt with under any other business, and it wasn't discussed in the substantive business at all.
Yeah, well, and I was upset that it wasn't able to be taken because, I put a paper into the system. That was my best guess at how we could ensure that in Northern Ireland this year we live within our budget. People know that our budget is under tremendous pressure already. That is compounded by the fact that we are having to pay £87 million this year in welfare reform penalties. And the paper that I put to the executive was my best guess at how we can ensure that we don't overspend our block grant, because to do that comes with very, very serious consequences.
But it wasn't discussed. Why was it not discussed?
Well, that's a question that you would have to put to Sinn Féin. They refused to see it tabled. I wanted the issue at least discussed, and I think that was welcomed by other executive members. I think there was quite a few who said that whilst they maybe didn't agree with everything that I put in the paper, they did at least respect that there was a need to have a proper, sensible, adult conversation about what is an incredibly serious issue. Yeah,
well, we did hope that Sinn Féin would be here to explain its position on that, but unfortunately nobody's been available from the party to join us on the programme tonight. But when you talk to people within the party, they make it clear that really you didn't observe the niceties of the protocols, because you're meant to table papers like that quite a bit in advance, and I think this paper was tabled yesterday, if I'm not much mistaken.
Well, it was tabled yesterday, but what those people who haven't told you, or you were speaking to from Sinn Féin, didn't tell you that what was contained within the paper was exactly what I outlined to the Deputy First Minister in a meeting that I had with him and the First Minister a fortnight ago. It was what was contained within a briefing that was given by officials from my department to members of the executive last Thursday. So this is information that the Deputy First Minister and everybody else in Sinn Féin who are in the executive have had from a fortnight ago.
OK, and when you discussed it with the Deputy First Minister, what did he say?
Well, I think he sort of looked at it and said, well, this is a very serious issue and we'll have to take it away and look at it. But that is, of course, what he said again today, which I think underscores the fact and the reality, I think, that we all understand, is that he isn't in charge of his party, that it is Gerry Adams who is calling the shots, who is saying that Martin McGuinness, who, of course, wanted to do a deal on welfare reform, can't move forward and can't show leadership on this issue.
So we've got leadership problems in two parties now in Northern Ireland, haven't we?
Well, I think it's very clear that Sinn Féin are not, Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland are not running Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland. It is Sinn Féin in Dublin who is calling the shots.
That's a nice soundbite, but you don't really have any evidence to substantiate that, do you?
I think it's very, very, very clear.
Well, how do you convince people that that's the case?
Well, it's very, very clear from comments that have been made even in the last 24 hours by Gerry Adams that he is asserting his authority on the situation. And that what that is doing is that is putting above the interests of Northern Ireland the interests of people in the Republic of Ireland. That's incredibly damaging, because we're facing a situation where if we don't cut our spending in year very, very quickly, the risk every day that passes increases that we are going to overspend our budget. And if that's the case, then what happens is Treasury then take the money that we overspend off our budget from next year. And next year's budget is already under tremendous pressure.
OK, are you saying then that Gerry Adams is trying to undermine the leadership of Sinn Féin given by Martin McGuinness in Northern Ireland?
Well, I think he already has, whenever he pulled the rug out from under Martin McGuinness and the deal that he did do on welfare reform, which has exacerbated the problems that we're having with our budget.